We're here. Yeah. Good morning. How you doing? Welcome back. It was a long weekend, and we've made it through. We're here. We're happy to be back in studio. It's been a minute. My name is Sean Shapiro. This is Ask a Traffic Cop, where you get to ask me questions about traffic and police stuff, and I get to answer them. It's that synergy, that getting together to talk about important stuff. And it is important stuff. And I had a number of people reach out to me and try to change my Instagram account here or camera. Had a number of people reach out to me over the weekend going, "Are you going to be on Monday?" And I disappointed them when I told them no. In fact, some people reached out when I didn't show up live at 10 o'clock because they were disappointed. But I was making eggs. No, it was a long weekend for me. I actually took Friday and Monday was a holiday for everybody at the office, or at least that work on the Monday to Friday. So yeah, we weren't here. And what else is going on? What's going on here? Did my tweet not go out this morning? Maybe it didn't. I don't think it did. All right, hang on a second. I want to get this information up because I see that it may not have gone out. What am I talking about? I'm talking about Vision Zero Enforcement Team. That's what I'm talking about. Needing to share the information about where they are today. And of course, technology doesn't. Oh, really? Hang on a second. Okay, we're going to skip. We're going to skip and come back. Why? Because it's not cooperating. And I don't want to get too deep in the weeds about why it's not cooperating, but it's a computer. And computers, if they can mess with you, they will. Try one more time. Nope, can't get in. Okay. No access to the information. If you've got questions, we've got answers. That's what we do here, except why my computer won't work in the way that I want it to. That's different. But if you've got questions about traffic and police, we're going to be here for a full hour. You can get us on Instagram Live by using the question mark in the question mark field. It's the bubble with the question mark. That's the Q&A. Let's press the button and hope. Yeah, no. I can get into silly questions about love or money, but I cannot get into your questions on Q&A on TikTok. It's been broken for months. We've put in multiple requests for assistance from their tech support. It's not working. So we are using something we've adapted into, trafficcop.ca, which is really just a link that forwards to our Volley space. Volley app is an amazing space. You can use it on your computer or on your phones, regardless of platform. You can send me a video, voice, or text question, and it will go in. I will answer it here and there and everywhere. It's awesome. In fact, we were communicating with folks over the long weekend using it. We've got 53 members in there right now, and it's awesome. So if you've got questions, by all means, ask them there. Now, that also applies to folks who are on Twitter, because Twitter, we don't hear from you on here. It doesn't go through. So you can see us, but we can't see you. So apologies in advance, but yeah, you're going to want to take advantage of trafficcop.ca. Yes. Where else are we? We're on YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn, and Facebook. And if you're on those platforms, lucky you, you can just ask us questions right in the comment section. Big Jeff Fresh sends a good morning. He's coming in from YouTube. And you can too. Now, if you're on YouTube, you see a totally different perspective. Instead of just my face, you see my face with stuff around me. It's just same, but different. Okay. Crystal comes in and says, welcome back. Crystal might have been the person who was most disappointed when I didn't show up yesterday. But thank you for the good mornings. And let's talk about things. Here's an interesting question. Can we go to jail if we do not pay hospital bills? Jail for hospital bills? Well, I don't know where you are. Most hospital bills are like the ambulance fee to get there if you're in Ontario, Canada. In terms of not paying hospital bills that are outside, I don't know how that would work, how the courts deal with collections. I think it's a civil matter. I'm going to assume it's a civil matter, not a break the law thing. Now, if you're fraudulently misrepresenting things and they're going after you for fraud, that's different. So, but it depends on where you are, too. I do not know about laws when it comes to the States. I can tell you that this weekend was interesting. I went to some places I haven't been in a while. What did I do? On Friday, I don't remember what I did. Oh, I went to appointments and things. On Saturday, my goodness, the whole weekend's a blur, and I didn't drink because I don't drink. But I think fatigue. I did a bunch of things around the house. It was very exciting. I had a visit from a raccoon this morning, literally. It's a mommy raccoon. I say mommy. Suggested based on observations suggesting it's a female raccoon, came up right up to the door, was staring at us while we ate breakfast. That's what happened this morning. And Yeah, it was. I think she was hungry. I think she was wanted to share breakfast. Anyway, if you've got Stephen Bell, good morning. How was your weekend? Weekend was awesome. Yesterday especially was cool. I went to Woodbine Mall for Fantasy Fair. Has anyone ever been there? That is an indoor amusement park. My kids wanted to go. I had bought tickets for them before the pandemic, and they were sitting around waiting, and I finally got to use them. And they had a blast. They had an absolute blast. And not go-karting, bumper cars, something my kids had never been involved with. They love bumper cars now. Lots of things that went on. We had, unfortunately, this is now going back to police stuff. In the city of Toronto, we had 3 fatal collisions over the weekend. So we're going to talk about that. I'll make some videos about stuff and things. We have some news releases that went out with details about that. And if we talk about traffic safety all the time, and it's because it's incredibly important. And when people don't, do things that are safe or have unforeseen situations arise, they sometimes don't make it home. And that was the case for 3 people over the weekend. Very sad. It's always sad. We talk about Vision Zero all the time because we have the Vision Zero enforcement team. We talk about where they are. But really what Vision Zero is the goal of having 0 deaths and 0 serious injuries on our roads. It's a goal. People say, well, you can't have 0. It's just never going to happen. And that may be true, but we have a goal of 0 because we want everyone to get home safe. And if you don't aim for the best result, you won't even come close. So we aim for 0. We accept that minor collisions are going to happen. Minor fender benders, the ones that are not serious, that's going to happen regardless. But the ones that lead to serious injury and death are preventable because it's all decision based. People make choices on how to drive, and then if it's avoidable, then if we should go there and have serious collisions and deaths, then it's unacceptable, right? So that's what we're talking about. Akela Draconis, greetings and salutations. Hey, big important thing. Akela is planning on winning a Harley Davidson tomorrow because tomorrow is the Harley Davidson draw. HarleyRaffle.ca is the website to go and get your tickets, last minute as it may be. Your tickets for a brand new Harley Davidson. The draw is tomorrow, and that money the money being raised by the sale of those tickets goes specifically to Special Olympics Ontario, which I couldn't be happier about. It's a great organization. So if you want to win, you better get in now. Because there were only 7,000 tickets to begin with, and being that the draw is tomorrow, if you're late, you really miss it. Let's see here. All right. Let's see what's happening here. I got to look into the chat because there's lots going on. Taking Uber with kids, heard car seats are not mandatory. If not, how do we secure them? So car seats are absolutely mandatory. If your child requires them, you must use them. If you don't use one, you can be charged, and so can the driver. Now, the driver is actually the one responsible. They're not supposed to take children, and they're not exempt. If you're the one insisting that I wonder if we could charge you as the driver is the one that's going to be responsible. But you know what will happen if you get into a collision? Bad things. If you transport a child in a car without a car seat, because in the event of a collision, you will end up getting that child very injured. Now, yes, there are some exemptions for buses, and there are exemptions for taxis, but that doesn't make it safe. It just means there's an exemption. At the end of the day, if your child is injured, now you'll never forgive yourself because it takes one collision to end a life. So if in terms of how do you transport them, well, if you have a child seat, you can install them. That would be appropriate if you were going to install it in an Uber. That can be done, but you cannot transport a child that requires a car seat without one, not in an Uber. Okay. Let's see what else is going on here. I'm going to scroll to the big screen and scroll back a bit. Vehicle Valley says good morning. And Blade Runner. Oh, what a great movie. I never get tired of that movie. Stefan says, what's up, dude? I'm doing all right. Okay. Interesting. Opinion on all these vehicle thefts and eventually getting them shipped in containers. I don't know what I can tell you about that. It's not my area of expertise. I talk about reducing the chances of having your vehicle stolen, but they're just reducing your chances, not eliminating them. You can't really protect to the point. Like if they want your ride, they're going to take your ride, whether they pull up with a flatbed truck and take it, or if they use all of the different methods or any of the methods to steal it. So. Yeah. Best make it less attractive to them. I don't mean that paint it orange. I mean, put a well-lit area, video camera surveillance, put your keys in a Faraday bag to reduce the chance of a relay theft, cover your VIN number to reduce the chances of them making duplicate keys, cover your port, what is it, OBT? I can't remember what it's called. But you block that, and there's rigs that you can put on that screw clamp down so they can't program another key easily. And we say easily because, like I said, at the end of the day, they could just pick up the whole car on a flatbed tow truck and go. And that happens. Somebody says, I've been driving without my G2 for years. Well, you're breaking the law, and I look forward to someone catching you and prosecuting you properly so that you don't have any insurance. You're not making good decisions. And you certainly shouldn't be proud of it. Okay. Can I drive with a G1 only? That was a question I just saw pop up. And the question is, no. A G1 requires you to be supervised by a fully licensed G-class driver that has at least 4 years experience. And that time starts when they got their G2 and continues along. But they must be fully licensed, and the vehicle must be insured, and the supervising driver cannot have more than 0.05, has to be under 0.05 BAC, which is blood alcohol content. So, yeah, there's a whole bunch of things. But, yeah, definitely do not drive with a G1. You're also not insured. So if you end up getting into a collision, you're not covered. They will not replace that vehicle. Can I take my license plate off my electric e-bike if it came with one that says the plate is share the road? Oh, license plates on an e-bike that's just for decoration. I mean, it's great to be able to say it's an e-bike, but no, you're not required to have a license plate on an e-bike because they're e-bikes. Okay. Going to scroll back here. Do you need a G-class license to be able to tow a trailer, or would you be able to do it with a G2? G2, you can tow with a G2. The same restrictions as a G. You can even, I think, technically tow with a G1, although I would not suggest it. Officer Shapiro, if you pull over a person without a license and are illegal immigrants, what do you do? When you say they're an illegal immigrant, I don't know the specifics of what would classify them. Someone without a license, they're going to be charged for driving without a license. If I think that they're here illegally, then I'll probably call the immigration to confirm when they came into the country. And if they're an overstay, then I would notify the appropriate authorities, and they would then be taken into custody, and border services would come pick them up. So that's what I would do, because that's what I've done in the past. If you get a seatbelt ticket for not wearing it as a passenger, will it affect your record? I don't know if it goes on your driver's license. I don't know, because you're the passenger. But at the same time, you would get the ticket and it would be issued to you. But I don't think, because you're not driving, I don't think it would go on you. I don't know. It's a good question. And now I want to know. Okay. Quick question. I live in Vancouver, BC. I'm planning to move to Toronto. Do I still need to book a road test in Toronto? Thanks. Have a good day. Okay, that's coming in from Instagram. And the question is, if you are a fully licensed driver in BC, you should be able to just trade license for license. But you do need to make arrangements. And I would contact drivetest.ca and confirm with them what they need from you, or talk to Service Ontario, because you're going to be registering your vehicle here, I'm assuming, if you have a vehicle. So, yeah. Question from Jake here says, lumber from back window to back window legally or legal? I don't know what you mean. You mean like across inside the vehicle from window to window, front to back? I don't know what you mean. So please rephrase it and ask again, because I'm not sure. Not sure what you're asking. Okay, we already talked about electric bike. Cool, close those out. Clear them from the queue. Okay. may the old sticker be removed going forward. So if you've got a sticker and you're an Ontario vehicle, or not you being the vehicle, but if you have a vehicle registered in Ontario, you're no longer required to have stickers. So once you've renewed it, remove the old sticker. That's fine. You don't need to have the old one. Question about Wonderland? But yes, private property doesn't guarantee anything. They're not responsible for your vehicles, and they probably say that in print somewhere, but they just aren't. If I catch dangerous driving on my dash cam, can a person get in trouble if I report it? You can go online if it's the City of Toronto that it occurred, and you can go to tps.ca/CORE. There is a place to report driving behavior of a specific vehicle. They may not result in charges because you need to have a number of factors for us to lay charges, time, date, location, identity of driver. But it will certainly be related as an actual police report. And when we get subsequent dealings with that vehicle, we'd have that to reference. So it may not result in charges, but it may help building a pattern of behavior report, which is not a specifically named report called pattern of behavior, but it develops a pattern of behavior when we're doing a report. All right. Does it matter where you take your test for G-test? Maybe how busy it is, but that doesn't change that much. I mean, obviously, busier places will be, more to look out for. A lot of people like to go out of town, which upsets the people out of town because all these people are coming into town to use their road test locations. All right. Do you know my dad? He used to work for the Toronto Police. I don't know if I know your dad or not. The name sounds familiar, but I can't put a face to the name. Okay. Is it true that licenses that have expired before 2020 got an extension in 2021 and 2022? So yes, if you're not before 2020, if your license expired March 1st, 2020, I think it was. So March 2020 and later were extended until February 28th of 2022. And if it was a learner's permit, it is still valid until December 31st, 2022. So yes, it's true, but it's not for anything before 2020. It was from March 2020. High beams are getting out of control. How can they combat this issue? So high beams are out of control. What are people doing with them? Are they throwing them at people? There's a lot of people who don't know how to use their vehicles or the equipment attached to their vehicles, like high beams. A lot of the problems are when people don't even turn on their headlamps, and it's the high beam bulb that is creating that daytime running light. So it's directed right in your eyes. So how do you combat? We have to stop and charge the people who are misusing their improper headlights or misusing their high beams. But there's not much you can do about it. Yeah. Give them a little flash of your high beam too. Tell them that their high beams are blinding you. That's everybody just doing silly things. It's bad. All right. If I catch, we talked about that. Old tenant left an uninsurance, non-running vehicle. Local PD won't do anything about it. So I don't know where you are, but if you're in Toronto, you can certainly call the Toronto Police. You can have it towed. You would have to pay for the tow, but it would be taken to impound, and then it would be just junked. If it had no value, they may have issue with it. But I mean, ultimately, it's an abandoned vehicle on your property. You can choose to, as long as it's plated. Mind you, if you don't have plates on it, there might call parking enforcement. And in Toronto, if you're in Toronto, if you're somewhere else, because you said local PD, you may be elsewhere. What provinces don't share demerit points? I don't know. We pretty much deal with all of them. I'm not aware of any that don't share with us. We have Sean Chen with a good morning. Stephen Bell says, did you hear about the fire at Canada's Wonderland? I did hear about it. I saw some video of it actually on TikTok, but I don't know the details. I heard on the news that they were investigating to see what the collision cause was, or the fire cause was, but I don't know what it is. Okay. So the question is, can I transport lumber inside, sticking through driver's side, across and out passenger sides, and then behind backseat? So if it's protruding from the vehicle, from the driver's side window to the no, that's an insecure load. It's unsafe, and I would charge you and stop you for that instantly, because that's not a good idea. So don't do that. You can't now front to back. If you had a window out the rear, directly facing out, then that's a different story. But I've seen some really scary situations where people have wood sticking out the driver and passenger window. Sorry, hang on just 1 second.
Can TikTok hear me?
Okay, sorry about the interruption. Whenever I see camp calling, it's a priority. So my one of my kids scraped her knee, so that I had to figure out if it's let's go to the hospital, scrape the knee, or is it just a scrape? So it's just a scrape, but they're good about calling. But everything's panic. So from the perspective of oh no, will Daddy get upset? But we're cool. We're cool. All right, let's see what's going back here. Did you hear about the fire on the side of the 407? I did not hear about that, but I want to hear. Okay. Do police have scanners picking up everyone's plates? So that's something that's new. Well, I shouldn't say it's new. It's something we've had for a long time for certain applications. But automatic plate scanners are going to become more commonplace in Ontario. They're adopting them everywhere. So absolutely, they will be scanning everybody's plates as they pass by vehicles, and people who are violating or have things that whether they're wanted or the vehicles are not valid or they shouldn't be on the road. Those are all things that the police will be alerted to. What is this? Can I ask for a copy of witness statements if my son was charged with careless driving? So if there's witness statements, you can go to court, and in court you can ask for disclosure, and a disclosure would have the full case being presented against you. You don't have to have witness statements other than the police officer providing evidence in court from their own, observations. So and careless driving, if it was a collision, careless driving may be one or more items that determine careless driving could be action, again, based on a police report, not witness statements. But you do get an opportunity to request disclosure in your case. Got a ticket for smoke that fell from my hand. What is this? Got a ticket for smoke that fell from my hand for littering. Why I see people throwing it out the window. So I've charged people for throwing their cigarette butts out the window. It is littering. You say fell from your hand. You're responsible. You're smoking. You're throwing things out the window or dropping them accidentally. You're still littering. Okay. Apparently my batteries are going low on Instagram, and I got to up the volume. So we'll do that for you. Maybe I can do it here. Anyway, figure it out. Here we go. All right. If that's better, let me know. And if it's not better, let me know, and either way, I'll fix it. Okay. Perfect. Apparently it's perfect. If an officer does not have his hat, he can't give me a fine. His uniform is not complete. Is this true? No, it's not true. We're police officers, whether we're wearing hats or hairbands or we're, obviously hairbands are not part of uniform. But the hat, regardless of whether or not they're wearing a hat, they're still eligible to give you a ticket. What you really need to do is not break the law. And that will prevent you from getting tickets because you're not breaking the law. Okay. There we go. Ooh, a whole bunch of stuff. What is this? You guys have all the technology. Why can't you guys get the gangsters? I don't know what you're talking about. I gotta cut. Everything's out of here. What do we have? Huge fire hazard. Don't know what we're talking about. How do you feel about no new license plate stickers? I really liked having license plate stickers, honestly. It was very easy for me to just look at the license plate and know if I had a reason to stop someone. Now you got to do that extra step. But you know what? It saves money for the government, and that's also good. How can we clean our driving record? Your driving record, after 3 years of your convictions come off, your current record, your lifetime record is forever, keeping track of what you've done. But once you actually have 3 years after your conviction, it comes off. 2 years after the offense for the points. But that's how it cleans. It's self-cleaning, like an oven. And policy on e-scooters. Do you mean e-kick scooters or do you mean e-bikes? So e-kick scooters in the city of Toronto are prohibited. They can't be on any road, sidewalk, or park, period. End of story. Not allowed. You can be charged for it, and if they're modified, you can be charged for driving a motor vehicle that is not licensed, that is unsafe for the road, and a number of other things like not having a license for them. There's a whole bunch of stuff on e-kick scooters because they're prohibited in Toronto. In other places, as long as they follow the provincial mandate or the provincial pilot, they're legal for use in the municipalities that allow them. But again, Toronto's not one of them. Can I fight a speed trap ticket? You're allowed to try and fight it. Will you win is a different story. If you're guilty, you're probably going to get a ticket or at least get convicted of it. People fight things because they don't want to pay them. They tend not to fight them because they're innocent. What do we have here? So I got 3 demerit points, which I definitely deserve, but what will that do to my license? So if you have nothing else that happens, 3 demerit points are just a way of tracking an accumulation of them. So as time goes, they leave your license. If you accumulate 12 or 15 of them at the same time, you get suspended. If you're a learner, it's actually fewer points until you're suspended. But if you have a full license, it takes, I think, 15 before you're suspended. How are DUI checkpoints legal? Really? It's about protecting the community, and the high courts in our country have determined that although it's a violation of your human rights to just stop you and check you, it's one that is acceptable for the protection of everyone, because DUI is illegal, and protecting everyone from DUI drivers is a priority, because DUI drivers kill people. Yeah, that's why it's legal. Because the courts have determined that although it would be normally considered a violation, that's an acceptable violation of your rights. And as Rob Baker chimes in, driving is a privilege, not a right. I absolutely agree. Let's see here. Cool. What is the maximum towing capacity with a G license? Look at the back of your driver's license, and miraculously, the answer will be revealed. Top left-hand corner, right beside where it says your license. Yeah, check it out. If someone has your license plate, drive license number, what is this? And his name. If someone has your license plate, drive license number and his name. If I went to cops with this information, what can they do? I have no idea what you're talking about at all. I don't know. I appreciate that you've put some thought into this, but I don't know what you're talking about. Is this a continuation of a previous question? Like, I don't understand what you're talking about. Okay, let's see what we got here. Okay. I got charged for careless driving because my friend was hanging out the sunroof. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know if that's the best fit, but I mean, your friend should have got a ticket for not wearing a seatbelt for sure. Were you driving in such a manner that it was maybe? I mean, it could fit. I think it should be stunt driving if you do that, because you've got to be really reckless and not caring about life if you're willing to do that. So I don't let people get in my car if they don't wear their seatbelts. So you let someone stand outside of your sunroof. Yeah, I think it was careless, but I don't know if the charge fits. That's I would sooner. Well, it doesn't fit for stunts, but I would totally try and make stunt fit, because stunt would be in a better charge. Because if you're doing stunty things, you should get a stunty charge. But yeah, I mean, good luck in court. I'd love to find out what happens, because if that is upheld, I want to charge everybody who does silly things for careless driving, because it's undoing. Where's my phone? Undoing. Let me check. I want to see the wording. I'm going to see if it fits for me. But I think this is interesting. So thanks for bringing it up. Careless driving By definition, as every person is guilty of the offense of driving carelessly who drives a vehicle or streetcar on the highway without due care and attention or without reasonable consideration for other persons using the highway. Well, I guess that the person who is sticking their head out your sunroof, as much as they were being very silly, were using the highway, and you driving with them sticking out the sunroof is not having reasonable consideration for their safety. Maybe. On conviction under subsection 1, a person is liable to a fine not less than $400 and not more than $2,000, or to imprisonment for a term of not more than 6 months, or to both. In addition, his or her driver's license or permit may be suspended for a period of not more than 2 years. $490 and 6 demerit points. Yeah, this is gonna make a great coffee chat with some of the training people in the building, because I'm fascinated. Let me take a screen cap. This is a good conversation starter for later. Thanks so much. What do we got here? Don't use self-clean on your self-clean oven. It could set your house on fire. I don't use self-clean. It's just use Easy Off. Don't you use Easy Off? Yeah. Thoughts on laser jammers and speed radar in Alberta. Well, I can't tell you what my thoughts. Well, actually, I can tell you what my thoughts are in Alberta, even though in Ontario they're absolutely illegal. I think they should be illegal everywhere, because anything that allows you to get the upper hand on law enforcement, allows you to continue your dangerous driving, and speeding is dangerous driving for me. That's why it's illegal. So anything that is done to make it that you get away with it is wrong. And I have no idea why provinces or anywhere allow it to take place, because it flies in the face of putting law enforcement out there to go and stop people from breaking the law. I just don't get it. So what happens when you get a radar detector or a laser jammer is you then adjust your behavior temporarily to avoid getting caught, or in the jammer situation, just assume that the police officer won't figure out your speed. I got news for you. We do figure it out. It's not a guaranteed thing. We stop a lot of people, and we have great laws here anyway. We have search and seizure authority if we believe that you have the devices on board, and we can pull those tools out, and then you can put your car back together afterwards. So don't do those things. It's pretty silly. Silly is my new word for today. Hey, if you're new to the channel, my name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a police constable with the Toronto Police Service, and I talk about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff in general. If you've got questions, please feel free to ask them. That's what we're here for. We're here for another 26 minutes. Oh, yes. 26 minutes, and then I've got a whole bunch of stuff to do, paperwork to file, things to write. It is never ending. Never ending. What is this? Alexander is very silly? Let me see here. I don't know. Alex is rambling about things he doesn't like the government, apparently. What is this? Can cops give you a ticket while they're driving? Well, we have to pull you over. It's hard to write while you're driving, and dangerous, too. I don't know what you mean. But yes, if we're driving, we can see you, make observations to pull you over. We could also choose to record it, and if we had enough evidence, we could simply mail it to you or serve it to you after the fact. Or 104, not mail it to you, serve it to you. Okay. What is this? And for the folks that are spamming, please stop. No one appreciates you at all. You're spamming just, I don't even see the spam. But what we do is we mute you, and we don't have to do that, because then you can't speak at all. Okay. Canuck wants to know, do you think police should use their discretion more? Actually, we use our discretion constantly. If we didn't, we'd stop everybody for 1 kilometer over, and discretion is constantly at play. I think we're pretty reasonable, when it comes to stopping people and charging people. I can't tell you how many times it was. Not every stop has to be a ticket, and very often it's an educational moment, a teaching moment, and then it's a goodbye and everyone's happy. But when it's serious, there's no teaching moment here. The ticket is the teaching. Mostly Ridiculous says, Big Sean, what's going on? That's Nick. Okay. Okay. What are we talking about? Scrolling back. There was something I saw that I wanted to respond to, and now I've forgotten what it is. How long have you been in law enforcement for? 22, 23 years? 20, not including security and armed guard stuff that I did before becoming a member of the service. So a long time. Is it illegal to flash lights to warn about a speed trap? It's not moral. It's not necessarily, well, it's improper use of high beams, but at the end of the day, it is, it's helping to make our roads less safe. Wabasha wants to know, are you allowed to take a sip of coffee when driving? In Ontario, you can. I don't know about other places. I hear in Alberta that it might be distracted driving to drink anything while driving. Not something that I'm aware of, or it's not something that I can confirm or deny because it sounds unreasonable. But in Ontario, that's not the case. Now, if you're taking a sip of water and as you do that, you swerve all over the road, that would be careless driving. So if it's negatively impacting your ability to safely operate your vehicle, that's different than simply being illegal. All right, let's see what's going on here. Stolen identity, false collision report. Okay, is that... I don't understand. What's the question? Someone in chat is requesting... okay. What circumstances would an officer request to ID all passengers in the car? So if it was a criminal investigation, if there was a reason to believe that there was criminality involved, they could be trying to identify the persons in the car. They'd probably be telling you exactly why they're looking to identify the people. Otherwise, if there's a belief that they were not wearing their seatbelts, that would be a ticketable reason as to why they would, and a reason why you have to, by law, identify yourself. So if I say that if I believe that you were not wearing your seatbelt, I would have cause to ID every person in the car who was not wearing their seatbelt. Okay. What's the difference between careless driving and reckless driving? One is, so first of all, in Ontario, or I don't think anywhere in Canada, reckless driving is a terminology used in the United States for dangerous or careless driving. So in Canada, or Ontario, we have careless driving as a provincial HTA offense. We have dangerous driving, which is a criminal offense in Canada. And then reckless driving is somewhere not here, because we don't use that word, that verbiage. So it could be used to reference careless driving or dangerous driving. I don't know what the bar is there, because it's, again, American. Got speeding ticket in a 90 zone. I was doing 105 by OPP. Will I get demerits and have MB license? Manitoba license, I'm guessing. So you're 15 over, depending on where OPP. So it's no demerit points, but it could still negatively, or will likely negatively negatively affect your driver's license. Insurance companies don't care how many points you get. That's about the points, the accumulation of demerit points determine when you lose your license or you get a letter saying learn to drive. Right? They say you're a bad driver, shape up, because you're on the road to bad things. Okay, what happens if I'm caught driving after 12 in the first year of driving? First year of driving with what license? So if you're a G1, you're not allowed to drive between 12 and 1 a.m. while being supervised by a supervising driver who has a whole bunch of conditions. They have to be in the front seat of your vehicle. They can't have they have to be below 0.05 BAC, which is blood alcohol content. So if you're caught in violation of a condition, you get a 30-day license suspension the first time, a 90-day the second time, and the third time you get kicked out of the driver's license, graduated programming. If you're in Ontario, if you are, talking about learner's permits, and I assume you are. Rules on light bars. You're allowed to have no more than 4 headlights over 300 lumens to the front of your vehicle. Light bars are usually off-road only. 12 and 5 a.m. Did I say 12 and 1? 12 and 5 a.m. Oh, okay. Yeah, between 12 and 5 a.m. is when you're not allowed to operate a motor vehicle with a G1, even if you're being supervised, because obviously you can't operate any motor vehicle anytime without supervision with a G1. So, yeah, let me know what you actually have. Now, G2 drivers can drive anytime 24/7, but it's the number of passengers in the vehicle that they have a maximum to. So it depends on what you got. Cops chase car, but what is this? Cops chase car, but call it off. Go to car's address. Do they still have proof who was the driver? Depends on whether or not they have proof of who the driver was. So if I have made observations and I believe that I can identify the driver, then I don't need to pursue the vehicle. I'll just find you later. Can an officer give someone a ticket for looking down while the vehicle is running? I'm not aware of looking down being a charge, but there is a charge for careless driving. And if you were driving while if you're just driving while looking down or reading a book, for instance, that's careless driving. Okay, checking on Volley. What is Volley? Why am I checking it? Well, Volley is this magical place. Oh, gee. Okay, hang on a second. Okay, hang on a second. I need to do something quickly because we might have if technology is cooperating, we might have somebody come in to say hello. Stand by. But we've been having some technical difficulties, so this might not work. But if it does, well then we will. Why can I enter? Can I enter? Here. Stand by. Come on. Here we go. I will be back to your questions in 1 second, but we might have a guest join us. So, going to just do this, going to do that. Turn down my volume. And I'm going to go here to, where's the button for, here we go. Copy. Close the window again. All right. This is very high tech what I'm doing. Can't you tell? There we go. I just sent Brian the link. And if it worked, Brian will likely join us shortly. All right. All right, what do we got here? I totally lost my train of thought, so apologies if I was in the middle of a question. But that's what I was in the middle of plugging Volley. Volley, if you want to join us and send video messages like I just got from Brian, you can go and join us at trafficcop.ca. That allows you to send us video, voice, text, attachments, pictures, whatever you got, you can do it. And yes, Sean, you can give me a call after the live because one of our viewers, who is not just a viewer but a member of the traffic safety community, yeah, you can give me a call. All right, but yeah, we've got a Q&A section. Questions come in, you can ask them, I will answer them. That's how it works. Trafficcop.ca, and that's just a forwarding link. It actually is a Volley space, and it's a community that's growing. All right. What are the rules for a roundabout? Do we have to signal to leave? Yes, because you're making a change in your direction. Going in, you don't need to signal. Going out, you do, because you're just following the road when you're going in. But on the way out, you got to signal your intention. And it really does help, because nothing bothers me more. Well, there's a lot of things that bother me. I'm easily bothered. But if you don't signal your intention to leave, how does anyone know if you're going to be? They have to yield to you, and they can't know if you're going to leave, and then you wouldn't be not. You know what I mean? Like, they're not psychic that I'm aware of. If they are, good for them. But I'm not, and I am constantly trying to guess if I think that someone who is coming around the corner is going to leave or not. And it really bothers me that I don't enter because I want to yield to them. I don't enter the roundabout. It causes all sorts of backup in the roundabout entry business, and they just get off right there. So, yeah, I'm annoyed. Roundabouts, I don't like them. I know they're supposed to be safer, but because of people's lack of knowledge of how to use them, I don't like them. What are the laws for doors removed on a Jeep Wrangler? You have to have at least one mirror to the rear, so as long as your rear view mirror is not obstructed, you can have your doors off on a Jeep Wrangler. My suggestion, though, is because mirrors are more mirrors are better mirrors. I relocated my mirrors onto the hinges of my windshield when I had a Jeep. That made life a lot easier. Sarah says, happy to see you, Sean. Well, happy to be seen. Thank you, Sarah. Do you have drive? I don't know what this is. Christopher wants to know about something about driving. I don't know what your abbreviation is. Thoughts on punishment for G2 driver with over BAC? If it says you can't have it, you want to know my thoughts on, do you think they should be punished for it? Yeah, they should, because they're not supposed to have BAC. If the rules say 0, it's 0. And if you break that rule, then you deserve whatever comes to you. What is this? Master Technician's having a conversation. By the way, hey, Master Technician, if I haven't acknowledged you before this moment, thanks for coming out and hanging out. What's the law with changing lanes at an intersection? Like within an intersection, it's unsafe, but it's not illegal in Ontario. basically anyone who's going to be making their decisions as to what to do in an intersection is making certain assumptions, and they're not making they're not expecting you to do things that are out of the ordinary. So changing lanes is very dangerous within an intersection, and it should be avoided. What is required for me if I have experience in another country of driving to get my license here? Depends on what country you're from, depends on what license you've achieved there. If you have, depending on the country, you might have a full trade one-for-one. You may have an expedited process where you still have to do the tests, but they give you don't have to wait. It really depends. You need to talk to drivetest.ca or Service Ontario. Either one will be able to give you more information. Okay. Sabu wants to know, is it illegal? And by the way, coming in from Facebook, I think first comment from Facebook today. Oh, no, that's not true. We have, who came in earlier from Facebook? Linda. I read your message and I meant to acknowledge you. My apologies. Linda says, good morning, hero. Linda is a big fan of police and emergency services, considers us heroes. I consider myself a streamer. I'm not a hero, but I stopped fighting with her, except for saying this right now, explaining why okay. Moving on. So is it illegal to blend into the left lane of a vehicle where... What? Is it illegal to blend into the left lane of a vehicle where it's painted for two vehicles in order to make room for a right turn? So you're making a lane change. There's no, there's no mushing into a lane halfway to get around. You're making a lane change, and it should be a complete lane change, and it should be done in safety. Is it specifically illegal to exit your lane and kind of shift over? It's an incomplete lane change, but you have to know that whatever happens while you're in the midst of a lane change, you're responsible for. So whoever's in the lane properly owns that lane. If you're halfway in between and you end up in a collision, you're going to be responsible. Better to make a complete lane change than make another complete lane change back. It's not illegal, but you're putting yourself in jeopardy. Can you legally remove the doors in any vehicle and drive it, or is it exclusive to Jeeps? I think my Honda CR-V would rock the doorless look. So here's the deal. Jeep is structurally designed, it works without doors. I would not be taking my doors off. I had this conversation a number of times, and the consensus is that you must have doors, unless it's designed not to have doors. Now, I could be wrong, but I don't think I am. And I kind of like doors. They tend to prevent bad things from happening. Yeah. Although I got to say, a CR-V would look very different. It would look very interesting without doors. Is it illegal to use high beams to tell someone to go faster? Well, probably they're probably doing the speed limit. Most people are upset when people do the speed limit. They want them to go faster and break the law. So that would be just yucky. But the deal is that high beams are not permitted to be used with your, 60 meters from behind and 150 meters from in front? Like, that's a breaking the law. So you can be charged for improper use of high beams or improper use of high. Yeah, I think that's the wording. In any case, you can't use your high beams, and regardless of what you're trying to communicate, technically illegal. Who is Brian? Is that a question from Q, or is that a question from somebody else? Brian Max. He is the co-host of Dave's Corner Garage. He's a friend of mine. He is a race car driver, amongst other things. And he had messaged earlier, before I got deep into the weeds about audio issues with our streaming software. He was saying he wanted to come by. So I don't know if he's still coming by for a hello. He may not. Okay. I'm assuming based on his not responding to my message, he may not be able to, but we'll see. We still have 10 minutes left. We'll do it another day. Okay. Hello, sir. Can a guy who's an immigrant but got his permanent residency, can he apply for police? Yes. To be a police officer in Toronto and pretty much anywhere in Canada, as far as I know, you must only be a permanent resident. You are not required to be a citizen, which is cool, because in the United States, most states require you to be a citizen. Not all states, but most states. Okay. Caitlin says, good morning, Sean. Sometimes when approaching a stop sign, I see horizontal lines going across the road that are closer together as I get closer to the stop sign. What are they for? I don't know if I know what you're talking about. Like, I've seen some zebra-striped crosswalks. I don't know that I've seen horizontal lines crossing the road. That might be a new design and one that I'm not familiar with, but Maybe it's to try and help you gauge where the stop line is. I don't know. I'm guessing. But now I've got to ask you, Caitlin, if you can send me a picture of one when you see it, or if you know the intersection where that occurs, so I can use Google Maps so I can actually look at it, because I want to know. I learn a lot about stuff and things from questions that you ask, and I appreciate that because I'm always looking for new stuff. EM Music wants to know if I get a ticket, and if you get a ticket in America, what? What's the question about it? That's the problem with these limited ability to ask questions on during the live, inside the live. And of course, our Q&A is broken, so that stinks. But if you ever want to just ask the whole question, use trafficcop.ca, where you can actually go into our Volley page, and you do have to register for an account, but it's free. And you can ask questions at nauseum, at full length, video, voice, or text. So just for your info. Okay, Caitlin's going to send me a photo. Cool. I look forward to it. Oh, here we go. What are the rules for motorcycles filtering through traffic on hot summer days? Hot summer days, cold winter, doesn't matter. Filtering is not... Lane splitting is not legal. So that's driving in between other vehicles. Lane filtering, lower risk than at speed on the highway, but still not specifically legal. Now, if you're driving on the parking side, like where there's a row of parked cars and there's room, I see it all the time. Is it illegal? I don't think it is. Is it safe? I think it's very risky. Doors can open into your path. Cars can decide to pull over, and they aren't expecting to see faster moving traffic coming up to the right. So it might result in a bad day at the office, a collision, and one where you would be responsible, and insurance would side with the other vehicle if you were in between that small space. You'd be playing a very gray space of riding, and it's not suggested. And whether or not you could be charged with careless, it's still possible. I say maybe I'm very iffy on the answer because it's not specifically written in law that you cannot do it. But there are other laws that may, depending on the interpretation and observations of the officer, may fit. So you have to be careful. And I would suggest against it. And if you have a air-cooled vehicle, avoid hot summer days. I rode a Harley professionally for many years, and they get hot. And so be it. We talked about this. What are the rules for removing a Jeep doors? I think I covered it already. You have to have at least one mirror view to the rear. So if you put your surfboard blocking your mirror, you are not legal. Can I pass a cop on the highway as long as I'm not speeding? Yes, of course you can. Speeding is the issue, not passing. Mind you, pass safely. Can a motorcycle go in the HOV? Yes. Motorcycles, as of I think 2017, are permitted to go into Ontario HOV lanes. The ones in the City of Toronto were always accommodating motorcycles, so we were ahead of the game. But the provincial government finally got on board, which is cool. And by the way, just a shout out to my wife, all is good. It's cool. She has to watch me on TV. It's like I'm there, but I'm at work. If I tip my windows in Ontario within the legal limit, will it be illegal to drive in other provinces? If they've determined it's unsafe to drive in their province, then it's still unsafe to drive in their province. You're not given the green light. Can you be charged? Yes. Will they charge you? Maybe. Because same thing here. If you drive in from out of town and you didn't know it was illegal, could we execute some discretion there? Yeah, we could. We could use discretion. If it's unsafe, we just don't want you on the road, so we can still charge you. Depends on what we're talking about. How dark is too dark? Just over the legal limit, it's completely opaque. I can't see you, you can't see me. Like, unsafe is unsafe. Do you have to drive construction speed limits even then when no one is working? Well, construction speed limits, if is a white sign, a regulated white sign with black print, yeah, you do. If it's a orange or yellow sign, those are cautionary, and you don't, even though you should. When workers are present, they're not enforceable. How do you notify someone that their lights aren't on? Depends if you're driving at them or beside them, because I honk the horn, wave, and tell them, or flash my high beams. Problem is, you don't want to flash your high beams into people or into oncoming traffic because it's dangerous. Can you automatically get a higher rank if you went to university? No, you do not. Everyone starts as a fourth class, a cadet, then fourth class constable, third, second, first. It's all based on training and experience. It's not based on your educational requirements. It's not. The military has some acceleration for officer program. We don't. If someone rear ends my car, does my insurance premium increase? It might. I'm not an insurance person. I don't know. Generally speaking, if you get rear-ended, it's not your fault, but there could be factors in play that would make it, or if maybe there's a pattern of behavior, you have a whole bunch of collisions, and they just think that you're a high-risk person. If you're an immigrant and you are driving without a license and you do an accident, what happens? You get charged for driving without a license, and then we create a license number for you that lasts you for the rest of your days, and you're charged, and things happen, and you might get sued. Yeah. Driving without a license, bad, regardless of what your immigration status is. If I lost my license, my partner is drinking, is it okay to drive her home if it's under 20 kilometers? If you lost it physically, you get a new one. If you lost it because you were suspended, no, it's not okay. Take a taxi. You're not permitted to operate a motor vehicle if you don't have a license, period. If you're suspended, you expect more charges. It's serious. And drinking is not an excuse to break other laws, even if you're sober. Can minor parking collision affect recruitment of policing process? Anything can affect your process. A ticket can affect it, anything at all, period. Let me see here. I want to see what we got. Minimum, I don't know what the minimum shuttle run requirements for parking enforcement are, but go check out www.torontopolice.on.ca/careers. tps.ca/careers apparently also works. All the details, everything you ever wanted to know about becoming a member of the Toronto Police are there for all of the positions. Okay. Someone said that, here's a question. I was told that you have to have a degree to become a detective. No, not necessarily. So a detective is a sergeant who works in a detective bureau. A detective constable is a police constable that works in the detective. So this is different than in the United States. Like NYPD has a different rank structure. You apply to be a detective. You're a detective for the rest of your days, regardless if you're in a uniform or not. Totally different than it is here. And what rank am I? I'm a police constable. So I'm a first-class police constable, and I work in the Traffic Safety Programs Office. But if I used to work, or did a stint, I should say, inside of the CIB, the Criminal Investigation Bureau. And during that time, I was a detective constable. So there you go. And the title changes as you move around, depending on what you're doing. But if I became a sergeant, on the road, I'd be a sergeant. If I went to the detective office, I'd be a detective. If I was a staff sergeant in uniform, I went into the detective office, I'd be a detective sergeant. We have funny names. Have you ever pulled over a family member? I have never pulled over a family member, but I think that would be interesting because I'd give them 2 tickets. It is almost 11 o'clock, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit this button. No, it's not some button. I'm going to play this button. This is the best song in the world. I'm going to start that again. What's the law on speeding? Leeway. They want to know if it's 8%. It's up to the officer, but 0% is what it is. You're not allowed to speed at all. Okay, try this again. I'm out. We'll be back tomorrow at 10 a.m. Actually, no. We'll be back tomorrow at 9:30 because we're going to start with the Jerry Agar Show, that is being hosted by Mark Toohey.
Light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely helps the traffic flow. Watch for pedestrians, look out for bikes, and don't drive like a jerk that no one likes. Yellow light, red light, green light, go.
I might like this song too much.
Driving safely is the way to go. Put down your cell phone, nobody needs you to text and drive on the DVP.
Hey, follow us if you don't already follow us. We'll be back tomorrow.
Red light, green light, go. Stop at stop signs, look both ways, then go. Seatbelt save your life indeed, and watch your driving. Don't speed. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely is the way to go. Don't drink and drive or smoke some weed, because you might go to jail and not get free. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely helps the traffic flow.
You didn't get to see this on screen, but Justin says, this song is a crazy earworm. I heard it in my head for days, or I hear it in my head for days. It is. I love this song. It makes me so happy, not only because it was written just for us by a member of the service here at Traffic Services, but it's just fun, and we need more fun in our lives. Have a wonderful day. Stay safe. Again, back tomorrow at 9:30 when we join the Jerry Agar Show, being guest hosted by Mark Toohey from 9:30 till 10, and then we will... what are we going to do next? Then we're going to do a regular Hour of Power where we answer your questions. Hour of Power. Do you remember that? That was like hard rock on radio when I was a kid. The Power Hour. All right. We see you tomorrow.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.